Welcome back. Last video we created this oldie worldy retro static thing here. So now we're going to go a couple steps further today by creating a sort of a turn on and off kind of thing, and also putting into a scene, into an actual television, into this television, which is my logo here that I've created in Illustrator. So this will be importing something from Illustrator into After Effects, and so here we go. So firstly, let's have a look back at the image here. It's more of a square kind of image. So what we might do is, instead of having this this long sort of the rectangular sort of thing, we turn it into a square. So we'll go to composition settings, and we'll turn it down to about 1080. Press OK, and there we go. We've got a square. So it's basically the same thing, but in a square. Okay. Oh, and it looks like I've already changed the name to static, so which is important because there's going to be a few more compositions here which will get confusing. And the best way to do that is you just right-click on the comp and rename, and then rename whatever you want. In this case, it's static, so it's all good. So now, talk about new compositions. Let's make a new composition. So we go to composition, a new composition. It's all good here. No problems. So press OK. And let's rename this one. I should have named it there before, but let's rename this off on, because what we're going to do is like a sort of an oldie worldy retro television which used to flicker to life, and it was very exciting, if you know, back in the day. Spell that correctly. Off on. Okay, so you go down here, you right click, and you get new solid. In this case it's going to be a white solid, so press OK. So you go down here on the timeline for the time, and we're going to work in frames at the moment. So we've got 1 frame, 2 frames, 3 frames. Press S for scale, and uncheck this. This is the link, so it'll be, if I do that, it'll be uniform all the way, but we don't want that, so Control Z that, so click that off. And this will be 0 here. So it's basically just a thin line that we can't see. Now keyframe it here when it's at the first frame, and let's zoom in up to about the 3rd frame. This is like very, very quick, and we'll put that up to 100%. Okay, so very exciting. Okay, back in the olden days, everything was quite blurry. So what we might do is add a little bit of motion blur. So click on here to enable motion blur, then check this box here, and let's have a look. There we go. Nice little bit of motion blur happening there. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll go to about frame 10 or so. Oh, actually, before I do that, I'll go back here and press T for opacity, and click the keyframe here. So at the moment it's 100% at the first frame, and by the 10th frame we want it to disappear. Actually, no, what I might do is I'll put that on the 3rd frame, so it'll be all alive, all completely alive, until we get to the 10th frame, and we'll put that down to a 0%. So let's have a look what we've got here. Comes alive, and then it just fades away. And what's going to happen is we're going to create another layer on top of this one. So let's just close that down there. So right click, new solid. There we go, white solid 2, that'll be fine. Okay, and no problems. Okay, so now we're going to create an ellipse mask. So you go up to here, go to the ellipse tool, which is already selected, and let's pop this bad boy about in the middle right there. That's looking pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to move this to about the third frame. So what's happening here is all that's open, and now it's going to be this ellipse. Okay, so let's go to, because it's a mask now, we can go into the mask area and mask feather. So let's go here in the black so we can see what's actually, no, that's yeah, okay, let's go here in the black so we can see it. And probably around 100, around 100 or so. There we go. That looks pretty good. Okay, so now you press S for scale, and what we're going to do is put that as a keyframe, and we'll pop this over to about the 8 mark, and now it's going to go down to 0. So uncheck this and I'll go 0 height wise. 0. There we go. So let's just play it. Okay, excellent. So close that down. Okay, now let's double click on static. So this can be the main star now. So it's back to our original thing that we did. Okay, so what we're going to do is grab the off and on. We'll just pop it down there. There we go. So it's been a bit silly. Pop it down there so it's the top layer on top of the static. So let's see what's happening here. There we go. Very nice, very nice. Okay, so let's go to about frame 10. So let's knock this all the way back to about frame 10. Grab this and so go to edit and split layer. And there you go. So now we have 2 layers that have been split. Let's get rid of the top one by just deleting it. There we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is see how we can turn it off. So what we're basically going to do is just reverse what we've already got happening here. Okay, so let's go to the 3-second mark. So we'll go in here, and so it's about 3 seconds. Nice one. There we go. So we're there around the 3-second mark, and let's just make this scale up here. And what we're going to do here is so duplicate. So go to edit and duplicate, and there we go. So let's try and grab this guy here. It's not a. There we go. Let's grab him and take him to the 3-second mark. There we go. What's he doing? There we go. Nice one. Okay, so now what we're going to do is reverse. So let's go to layer, time, and time stretch. So we've got a stretch factor of 100. All we have to do is do minus 100, and it's reversed it. So let's have a look. So we start off here, it switches on, and then switches off. So now what we've got is static, static, static. So let's just go to around here. So we don't want static before the thing turns on. And go to layer, the old edit, sorry, edit, split layer. Gets me every time, that one does. Okay, and we'll just get rid of the beginnings there. There you go. And exactly the same thing here. It's just going to go to black because it's going to turn off. So about there, about the middle, well, right up the top there, yeah, just about there. Okay, so grab those, go to Edit, Split Layer, and get rid of everything that's beyond here. So let's check it out. There you go, off and on. Okay, so what we're going to do now is create a little bit of depth here. So just around the edges, it should be darker, so it looks like there's a bit of perspective happening. So what we will do is go to right click over here and go new and create a new solid, and it should be black. That's okay, we'll pop that over there. And because we've got a square shaped TV, so let's go back to this bad boy here, so squarish. What we're going to do is have a rounded rectangle tool and do it like this. So now that's created the mask, and what we're going to do is invert it, and so it'll be the opposite. So let's have a look. Okay, so, and now what we have to do is go to mask a feather and really feather it up a little bit. So let's have a look over here. Let's feather it up. There we go, it's more like it. There we go, about there, that looks good. Okay, so we'll close this down, and what we'll do now is introduce the telly, or the television. There we go. So this is very important. So we go to File, Import, File. There's the TV, so we press on that. But you got down here Import As. So make sure you have import composition retain layer sizes. So import, there we go. So now we have the TV, which will become the main thing. There. Okay, so now what we're going to do is grab static. Actually, I probably should go through this first. In the Illustrator file, I have 3 different layers. So one is the reflection, which is this, and then there's a screen, and then there's a TV. And because we imported it that way, it has all the layers. So now all we have to do is grab the static, pop him over here, like so. So that's what's happening here. So we've got the static on top of the television. So now what we're going to do is scale it down to size. Here we go. And what I'm doing is I'm holding Shift Alt, so it's scaling down. Here we go. Let's zoom it up a wee bit. Okay. Oops. So if we play this, there we go. What we need now is a mask, so it lives within the television. Actually, before I do that, I'll just zoom this down a little bit so we get all the perspective goodness. There we go. It's static, so it doesn't matter if it's a little bit not correct. Perfect. There we go. Nice one. Okay, so now we go back to Illustrator and grab screen. So we've got that shape here. So copy that. And then make sure you're in static here. And paste it. It's a little bit small, but that's okay. All we have to do is click into it and zoom it up. So I'm zooming up with my the middle button at the moment, but and I'm holding down Shift and zooming up so it's a uniform scale. Let's make sure it's all good. Oops. All good in the hood. There you go. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. There we go. Oh, it's very quick though, isn't it? Oh, it's very slow. I think my computer's dying at the moment, but that's all good. So let's see what it looks like. Now we're retro television.